Welcome dear students. In the course of your 5th semester BSc Agriculture degree program, this is the elective course Elect Agron 311 Agricultural Waste Management. Today I am delivering the third lecture of Unit 3, that is Vermicomposting. Before going to this lecture, you please remember my two previous lectures which were also based on the vermicomposting. So in two previous lectures, I have discussed in first lecture about vermicompost. See, vermicompost, vermicomposting and vermiculture. These are the different terminologies. In the first lecture, I have already explained you these three different terminologies. So while understanding this vermicompost, their use, vermicomposting, the process of vermicomposting, you should be very clear about these terminologies. Otherwise you will be confused. And this is the reason why I am again recalling it, that probably you people may think that vermicompost or vermicomposting, if you are confused with these two terminology, you will think that this topic is over again, what sir is going to tell. The topic which is over, that was vermicompost. Today I am telling you vermicomposting. Vermicompost is the end product which we find during the agricultural waste management with the help of earthworms. The process which earthworm carries for the decomposition of agricultural waste, the process is known as vermicomposting, and because earthworms are required to carry this process, so we need to take care of the worms also. So to take care or to handle the earthworms is known as vermiculture. So these are the three terminologies. Vermicompost is the end product which is obtained through the process of vermicomposting. Vermicomposting is the process of agricultural waste management through the vermiculture. And vermiculture is the handling of earthworm. So these terminologies you should be clear. So in last lecture vermicompost has been covered. In first lecture, in second lecture of Unit 3, vermiculture has been covered. So this vermiculture is being utilized to prepare vermicompost. This is a method of agricultural waste management and the process is known as vermicomposting. So in today's lecture the following points will be covered. First is the process of vermicompost, introduction to the process of vermicomposting. Then we will take a look on the agricultural waste which can be utilized in the process of vermicomposting. Then thirdly, the other requirements of the vermicomposting will also be explained in this lecture. Then the methodology of the vermicompost preparation will be explained. Then if it is a process, we want to manage it, certainly some care should be taken. So these care should be taken, that will be explained in this lecture. Then after the vermicomposting, as I am telling you, earthworms are converting the agricultural waste into the compost which is known as vermicompost. Definitely earthworms are remaining there. So when the process is over, we need to separate our vermicompost and the earthworms, because earthworms are the life and it is a useful life, so that we can utilize it for the further process. So how we can separate the earthworms from the vermicompost and we can utilize it in the next lot of the vermicomposting, next lot of the agricultural waste which is undergoing for the vermicomposting. Vermicompost is very important. Why it is important in agriculture, at what doses it should be applied in different crops, that has been already covered. But when the vermicomposting process will be over and we will find the vermicompost, what will be the nutritive quality of that vermicompost? Because in last lecture I have told you it is useful for the plant. So you should know the nutritive value of vermicompost, only then you can justify your statement that it is useful for the plant. And it has several beneficial effect on soil also. This is the reason it is also known as soil conditioner. So the advantage and disadvantages of vermicompost will also be discussed at last in this lecture. So vermicomposting is a process, it is very clear. So it is a type, composting is a process, you know, because in unit 2 composting has already been discussed, that is aerobic composting and anaerobic composting. And compost is the end product which we get through the composting process. So the composting is a decomposition process. Vermicomposting, again it is a composting, that is a decomposition process. Vermi is a prefix attached to this here with this word, means worms are involved in this process. So earthworms are involved, and earthworms carry out the decomposition of agriculture waste, or we can say organic waste, and convert it into a better product which has the nutritive value for our plant and a soil conditioning value for our soil. So the end product is vermicompost, and the whole process is known as vermicomposting. This is vermicomposting in all. Earthworms are required. So how earthworms convert the material into vermicompost? Earthworm feeds the organic waste material and passes it through their digestive system. So when this organic waste is a food for the earthworms, they feed it, they take it into their alimentary canal, they digest it, and after the digestion the excreta is excreted out, which is known as vermicompost. So it is simply a earthworm excretum or earthworm excrement, that is also called as casting. So somewhere it is known as, it is written as, if you see some books, so in some books you will find vermicompost, but in some books you will find it is written as vermicast. So vermicast means cast excreted from the excreta of earthworm, that is a cast. So it is also known as vermicast. Somewhere in some book you will find that it is written as vermicast tea. So what is tea, I will explain you. So this vermicast has the improved biological, chemical and physical property for the soil. So this is vermicomposting. Some chemical secretions in the digestive system of earthworms, it is added, because the organic waste is a food for the earthworm. When earthworm digest it in their alimentary canal, for the digestion, as you have studied in the biology of intermediate level, our digestive system, we secrete some acid and some hormones which helps in the digestion of food. Earthworm, when it digest their food, they also secrete some chemicals in their alimentary canal, and the part of that chemical is added in the excreta of the earthworm. So one thing, that the food material for the earthworm, that is agriculture waste, is degraded into the simpler component, and some chemicals from the digestive system of earthworm is added into it. This is the reason that vermicompost is of better quality if we compare its quality with the compost. So this is all about vermicomposting. So we want to do vermicomposting. It means vermicompost, it is very clear to you in first lecture. The use of vermicompost, it is used in our agriculture. It is beneficial, that you know. But now we want to carry this process. How we prepare to start this process, how we monitor this process, and how will we get the end product. So we will start with the vermicompost. sorry, we will start with the agricultural waste. Vermicompost is the end product. So we will start with the agricultural waste. So what type of waste can be used for the process of vermicomposting? These waste are given here in this slide. This vermicomposting, it is not necessary that only in villages farmers can do for their agriculture. Even in urban area, our kitchen waste, which are biodegradable waste or which are organic waste, at a small scale can be converted into a vermicompost, and even in urban area these vermicompost can be used in the pot culture, because in urban area we people are using several pots for the beautification of our houses, so vermicompost can also be used there. So some urban solid waste which are degradable, this is necessary, it can also be used. So these are the category: agricultural waste, animal waste, urban solid waste, agro-industrial waste. So again here I am saying agri-industrial doesn't mean any industry. Agro-based industry and the waste which is coming from the agro-based industries can be used. These category of waste you know very well. Agricultural waste are the agricultural waste from the agricultural field, that is husk, straw, hay, stubbles. It can be used, but stubbles, take care, if you use stubbles, soil particle should not be present there. So just remove the soil particle. Stem, leaves, fruit rind means जो फलों का छिलका होता है, peel of the fruits, pulp, stubbles, but be careful while handling and all critical waste, because some hard waste should not be used, like mango stone should not be used. That's why you should be careful. Animal waste, cow dung, urine and biogas slurry can be used. So the excretion and the dead material, dead animals cannot be used. Dung, urine and biogas slurry, these can be used for the vermicomposting. Urban solid waste means the waste which is coming from the urban area, but be careful, only biodegradable material should be selected. Very easily in our houses, our kitchen waste are biodegradable waste. So kitchen waste can be used, but nowadays we are generating lot of plastic as a kitchen waste, because this polythene carry bag which we are carrying, it is a harmful thing. It should be separated out. Even sludges and sewage treatment plant, the waste coming from sludges and sewage treatment plant, that can also be used for the vermicomposting. Agro industries, that is fruit peel or peel of your potato, mango, or fruit and vegetables, that can be used. Digested bioslurry can also be used from the biogas unit which comes. It can be used for vermicomposting. This rice husk can also be used. Leaves and flowers, the waste material from the garden, from the beautification garden, that can also be used for the vermicomposting. So this is about agricultural waste. So definitely agricultural waste is the start point. First we need agricultural waste. Then what else we need? Very simple, earthworm. Yes, earthworm I have told you. But definitely some space should be required. So space is the first requirement. What should be the criteria of space? Because you cannot carry this vermicomposting process in sunny area. So first requirement is that it should be shady area. So shade should be there. If you remember my last lecture, I told you earthworm likes moisture or water. Earthworms cannot live in a dry place. So water supply system is also required. So these are the other requirements for your vermicomposting unit. These are waste collection and separation floor. So if or preparation floor, if floor is required, some area is required where the waste is collected. During the collection of waste, you should be careful that it should be only organic waste or it should be only biodegradable waste. Preparation floor means the waste, if it is of large size, it is better to cut it into the smaller pieces before the start of vermicomposting. So it should be chopped or it should be cut into the smaller pieces. So preparation floor is required. Then these waste are put in a bed for starting the real vermicomposting process. So a vermi bed or pit is required. It should be a shady place, so a shed is required or shade is required. The heap of the lot which is undergoing for the vermicomposting, it should be covered. It should be covered with such a material which can not conserve the heat but can conserve the moisture. So it is always better to cover the heap with a gunny bag. Water supply system is required because maintenance of regular moisture during the vermicomposting process is necessary. And this vermicomposting process, if you take care of these things up to here, then the vermicomposting process you have nothing to do. Worms will do. But you have to maintain the situation that worms will work efficiently. So by this requirement and by managing these, next from water supply system is required. After that, worms will do your exercise. Worms will work for you. When the process will be over, the vermicompost will be the last product which you will get. So you will have to take it out, collect it, sieve it, pack it. So again some thing is required, some area is required for sieving and packing it. And building it is required if you are running a unit for selling the vermicompost, and if you are running a unit for continuous activity. So for maintaining the record and for doing these things, some building or some packing house or some areas, more areas required other than the waste collection floor. Some other areas also required. Earthworms are required. So first waste is required. Second, infrastructure is required. These are the infrastructure. Infrastructure is required for vermicomposting process. Third, worms are required. Earthworms are required. I have told you in last lecture, Eisenia foetida is the most important earthworm. It is also known as red wiggler earthworm, which is used for the vermicomposting process which we carry out in the management of agriculture waste. Except Eisenia foetida, Eisenia anderi and Eutralis eugenia can also be used. Lampito moriti, I have told you, is the Indian, all are the Indian actually species. Lampito moriti is the species which are available in India in a larger quantity, in a larger number. So it is a naturally working animal, so it works in soil. But when you take this Lampito moriti in your vermicompost heap, in your organic waste, it will not work very efficiently. So the very efficient worker is Eisenia foetida. Second, Eisenia anderi and Eutralis eugenia. But all can be used with up to some extent for some agricultural waste. So this way vermicomposting process can be started. See, this is sugarcane bagasse or sugarcane trash. So it is in larger piece. So we need some floor to collect it and to convert it into the smaller piece. This is vermi bed. This vermi bed, this green color vermi bed, basically nowadays these vermi beds are available. These vermi beds are of different size, are available in the market. This is made up of HDPE, high density polyethylene. Even in my, if you remember my last course, irrigation water management, I told you for the water conveyance, HDPE pipe is being used, is utilized for water conveyance. So this is the same material, HDPE, high density polyethylene. So these vermi beds are also being prepared, made up of HDPE. So here it is just, if you don't want to use, you can fold it and collect it somewhere. Even in market it is available in the folded form. You just open it and spread it, so it will be like this. So this type of vermi bed can be utilized. Put all the agricultural waste in this vermi bed. It is not necessary that always it should be of HDPE. This cemented pits can also be prepared. So this is a vermicompost unit. Back side you are seeing that there is a waste collection floor where the waste is collected and it is prepared. Prepared means it is converted into the small pieces before putting it into the vermi bed. This vermi bed may be a pit, cemented pit. This is a water tank, and this drip lines is also spread over it for regular watering it, for maintaining the moisture. Otherwise you can maintain the moisture by spraying the water over it. Even at a small scale, if you don't have this HDPE vermi bed, if you don't have cemented vermi bed, the agricultural waste can be heaped in this manner, which you are showing in this picture. Agricultural waste can be heaped in this manner on a floor also, and vermi composting process can be taken out, can be carried out. So these are the photographs which will show you how the vermicompost unit will look like. This is a small scale vermicompost unit. The care should be taken that in next slide also it is written that what care should be taken. But you remember my last lecture, earthworms doesn't like light and heat. So always it should be a shady place. Here you are seeing the shade is created through the shade net. Here you are seeing the shade is created through the, it is not tin, it is asbestos sheet, not a tin. Shade is created through the hay. So be careful, the shade should not be made up of tin, or it should be made up of either shade net or hay, और इट शुड बी मेड अप ऑफ मैंगलोर टाइल्स, खपड़ा नरिया जो बोलते हैं हिंदी में. What happens with tin shade net? Tin shade net will conserve the heat below it, and the area where you want to carry out the vermicomposting process, the area here the temperature will be more, and the more temperature it is not good for the earthworms. So this shade net, it will create the shade, it will save your earthworm from the light, and at the same time it will not conserve the heat. This asbestos is bad conductor of heat, but asbestos is not also very good. So this hay shade net is a very good. It can also be created. While making the heap, you should be take care that the heap of the agricultural waste are spread over the floor in a bed form. This is the correct method. You should not collect all the agricultural waste in one heap at the center. Here the earthworm will work, but more time will be taken and there will be some problem for the earthworm also, because at the inner side of the heap of agricultural waste, the oxygen supply will be restricted. So in a bed form, this heap can be spread on a floor. If you are running a unit of vermicompost production, the cemented floor can also be prepared, or for the portable purpose, even sometimes this shade, sometimes this vermi bed, this is made up of HDPE, this is portable, so it can be spread in a shady place anywhere, even in the even below the tree also, where the wind is blowing, tree is providing the shade, and a pleasant atmosphere or temperature is maintaining below the tree at a tree shade place. This vermicomposting unit can be established. This vermi bed can be you can keep vermi bed there also in a tree shade. In several books you will find that this should be the size of vermi bed, 1 meter wide, 50 centimeter height, somewhere it is written as 60 centimeter height, somewhere it is written as 75 centimeter wide, somewhere it is written as 1.5 meter wide. So don't confuse on the dimensions of the vermi bed. It depends on the area available with you. But here we have a lot of area, but it doesn't mean that vermi bed should be of 4 meter wide or 6 meter wide. No. What happens? The length of the vermi bed can be accordingly on the basis of availability of area. So it may be 5 meter, 6 meter or 10 meter length. Length may be accordingly. Width of the vermi bed, somewhere it is written as 0.7 meter width, somewhere it is written as 1 meter width, somewhere it is written as 1.5 meter wide. Actually the principle is that it should be as wide as you can reach up to the center by standing aside. So if it is 1.5 meter wide, it means if you will stand here, you can touch the center from this side, and if you will go to this side and you will stand here, you can touch the center from this side also. So it should be approachable actually. So this is the reason different size of vermi bed is quoted in different books, but you should not be confused about the size. Width should be accordingly that we should reach at the center. Length should be according to the availability of space. And the number of vermi beds can also be prepared. Even in an open space, not open space, in a shady space, just on the floor, if we prepare the heap of the agricultural waste, here you can see the width of the vermi bed is about 75 centimeter only. So that by standing here we can touch here, by standing here we can touch here. So our hand should be reached up to the center. All agricultural waste should not be heaped at one place, that I have told you the reason. Here you can maintain a good moisture, good oxygen supply, and you can provide a shade also, and you can spray the moisture and you can watch the process. So this way vermi bed is being prepared. The height, so this is about length and width of the bed. About the height, it should be about 50 centimeter, it should be about 75 centimeter, up to 1 meter also, but not more than 1 meter. The reason behind it, again the same reason, oxygen should reach up to the end, oxygen should enter into the heap. If it will be a very big heap, so oxygen will not enter into the deep portion. So the most ideal depth is 50 to 75 centimeter. Depth or height, whatever you can say. So this way waste is collected into the vermi bed. Now how the waste is collected, how the earthworm is being introduced, that I am going to tell you. First process is the collection of waste. Grade it, separate the unwanted metals or glass or paper or plastic from the waste. Then pre-digestion of organic waste for 20 days by heaping the material along with the cattle cow dung. Means whatever the agricultural waste we want to use in our vermicompost, in our vermicomposting, some cattle cow dung should be mixed with that waste. Actually, when we mix some cattle cow dung with our agricultural waste or kitchen waste or whatever the this herbaceous waste, some cattle cow dung is mixed, so the digestion of the waste through the microbes already start, and this triggered material is put into the vermi bed. If you don't just vermicompost can also be prepared from cow dung only. If we want to prepare vermicompost from other waste, other agricultural waste except cow dung, if we mix cow dung with other agricultural waste, the process of vermicompost will be easy. Otherwise, I want to tell you, if we don't mix any cow dung with the organic waste, still the vermicomposting process will be carried out by the earthworms, but then it will take a longer time. So this is the reason you will find in several books that they are telling that cow dung should be mixed with the agricultural waste. So this is just to help the process, to fasten the process. It doesn't mean that if we don't add cow dung, this vermicompost will not work for the other agricultural waste. It doesn't mean, but it will take long time. But the preparation of the agricultural waste should be done before putting it into the vermi bed. We should be careful that the hot material should not be put. So this our kitchen waste, these things, why we are saying that pre-digested material is put, because it will come in at a lower temperature point. Initially, see, fresh cow dung, it is written in italics purposefully, fresh cow dung should not be used for vermicompost production, because fresh cow dung is very hot and worms will not like it. So first this fresh cow dung is kept in a certain place and water is put there, and it takes about 15 days to be cooled down. Then this cooled cow dung should be used, or this cooled cow dung should be mixed with the kitchen waste or our agricultural waste, so that we can put. So this care should also be taken. Preparation of earthworm bed, how it is being prepared, I have already told you through these pictures. Then you introduce your earthworm into the heap, because this is only heap of agricultural waste. So how you will introduce your earthworm into the heap? So earthworm are inserted 10 centimeter below the surface. You just remove the upper layer of at certain places. So the rate is in 1 meter cube of agricultural waste. 1 meter cube means 1 meter width, 1 meter wide length and 1 meter depth. It is 1 meter cube, but your vermi bed is not of 1 meter cube. So you can calculate, just this is the rate. Actually the rate is always taken in a per unit volume or per unit area or per unit time. So that's why I am telling you in per unit volume. So per unit volume means in 1 meter cube volume 1 kg earthworm should be incorporated. 1 kg earthworm means about 1000 earthworm in 1 meter cube area should be incorporated. So what you will do, just you will remove the 10 centimeter waste at this, make a pit and add the waste. Then after certain distance, again you remove this 10 centimeter depth of the waste by your hand. Just a pit, like just a small pit is created at the top of the waste. You put the earthworm and then cover it again. So just about the 10 centimeter below, earthworms are introduced at the rate of 1000 worms at per meter cube area, per meter cube volume. Now what you will do, spray the water over it. It should be well moist. Then cover it with gunny bag. Cover it with gunny bag. Here also you should cover it with gunny bag. Then every day you should spray the water, or you can put a drip line to spray or to provide the moisture or to provide the water. Don't remove this gunny bag every day. You can put the water over the gunny bag. Gunny bag will conserve the moisture below the heap, and gunny bag will not heat up the heap. Earthworms will do. Earthworm feed the material, convert it into vermicompost. And what earthworm will do, where you will introduce the earthworm? Earthworm starts feeding, because when food is available at nearby place, why should we go to the longer distance for collection of our food? Because food is available just near to me. So earthworm will feed the waste and convert it into the vermicompost. Then earthworm will move further. Some earthworm will move sideward, some earthworm will go deepward, and again it will convert into the vermicompost. Then again earthworm will go deep. And during this process, earthworm breeding will also be carried out. So earthworms which we have introduced, they will increase their number. So when the vermicomposting process will be over, and we will separate out our earthworms and vermicompost, we will find that what amount of earthworms we have introduced, we will find more number of earthworms at the end. So the preparation of earthworm bed, then introduce the earthworms into the heap, and they will convert it into the vermicompost. But spraying of water should be done regularly for maintaining the moisture and allow the beneficial organism to grow, because it is not only the earthworm which will work there, because moisture is there, aerobic condition is there, agricultural waste are available. So definitely some microorganisms will also start working. Let them work. There is no harm. Even at home we can prepare the vermicomposting unit. So a small vermicomposting unit can be prepared at home. Agricultural waste mixed with the cow dung in the ratio of 3:1. First keep it for the cooling. When some pre-digestion occurs, and spray the water over it, cool it. Then a small vermi bed, that is 6 feet length, 2 feet width and 2 feet height. On a small vermi bed you can introduce the earthworms, and then you can maintain the moisture and shade and temperature for the vermicomposting. And this way vermicomposting process will be over in 45 days. See, it depends. If it is pure cow dung and you are doing the vermicomposting process, it will be over in 45 days. With the agricultural waste and cow dung, it will be over in 45 to 50 or 60 days. But if cow dung is not there, only the agricultural waste are being used, the vermicomposting process will be over in about 75 to 90 days. So again it depends on the raw material which we are using. the amount of vermicompost which we will get, it also depends on the waste which we are using. If we are using only cow dung, if we use 1 kg cow dung, half kg vermicompost will be the recovery. If we are using 10 ton of cow dung for vermicomposting, 5 ton will be the recovery. But if you are using agricultural waste, 75 or 80 kg or 80% we can say recovery can be achieved, but more time will be taken. So this way the process of vermicompost will be over. The precautions should be taken while vermicomposting. I have told you already through the pictures. Pit should not be in the direct sunlight area. It should be in shady place. Regular spraying of water should be done. One more care should be taken that lot of ants can come, because wastes are available there, worms are available there, so lot of ants can come and it will damage your earthworm. So earthworm should be protected from the predators. But you know, घर में कभी आप किसी मिठाई को चींटी से बचा के रखने के लिए क्या करते हैं, ये सोचिएगा. This is a question for you at this point. You have a sweet in your house, in your kitchen, and ants are a problem. So how you will keep the sweet safe from the ants? घर में मिठाई को चींटी से बचा के रखने के लिए आप क्या करते हैं, इसके ऊपर वेबिनार में चर्चा करेंगे. ये सवाल आप लोग हमको, इसका उत्तर आप हमें वेबिनार में दीजिएगा ड्यूरिंग द इंटरेक्शन प्रोसेस. Now vermicompost is prepared. Vermicomposting process is over. So how, see, I am saying you it will be over in 45 days. Sometimes it will take 60 days also. So how you will judge that this vermicomposting process is over? You have introduced the worm at the surface, just below the surface. So it may happen that vermicomposting process at the top is over, but it is going on at the deep. Yes, it may happen. In some book you will find it is written as vermicast tea. Tea means chai. Because when the vermicomposting process will be over, the leftover part is vermicast. This vermicast just look like as a tea leaf. This fermented tea leaf, जो चाय की पत्ती हम घर में इस्तेमाल करते हैं चाय बनाने के लिए, ये जस्ट वैसी दिखाई देती है. तो when you are seeing that tea leaf, fermented tea leaf, चाय की पत्ती उपलब्ध है पूरी सरफेस पर, then we will just remove some granules from the top and see if it is available in deep also. Then we can find that this vermicomposting process is over. Up to the half level of deep we should check it, because we cannot go more deep. Or we know that 45 days up to the half level of deep vermicomposting process is not over. It means we have to wait for more 10 or 15 days. Then remove the vermicompost. So vermicompost should not be removed just by the trowel. बेलचा होता है ना, फावड़ा या बेलचा से, by putting the trowel into the heap and collect it. No, it should not be like this. You should take the vermicompost out from the heap layer by layer from the upper layer. So first you remove the upper layer, collect the upper layer, then again you collect the second layer, then layer by layer if you collect. So definitely the vermicomposting process is over at the surface and the upper layer, but probably it is still going on in the deeper side. So when you collect your vermicompost layer by layer, then the vermicompost which is ready, you can collect it, and where the process is still going on, you can leave it for more days. How you will separate the earthworms from the vermicompost? See, if the vermicomposting process is over at the surface, what the earthworm will do at the surface? Nothing, because food is not available for them. Food is available for them at deeper side, so definitely they will go to the deep side. So if you remove your vermicompost layer by layer, suppose vermicomposting process of the whole heap is over, so where the earthworm will live? Earthworm will live where the moisture level will be the maximum. The moisture level will be the maximum at inner side of the heap, at the bottom, because you put water from the surface and water will percolate to the deep side. So when you see that process is over, stop watering. When you will stop the watering the heap, definitely the surface will be dry, but the inner part of the heap will be wet. So earthworm will move to the inner part. One more thing you can do, you can just remove the shade net, or the shade which you have provided. You remove the shade for the one day and stop watering. Definitely the upper surface will be dry, the temperature will go up, and earthworm will go to the deeper side in search of water and in search of lower temperature. So you remove the vermicompost layer by layer from the heap, then at the bottom you will find earthworms are there. So earthworms can be separated out, and this earthworm can be used for, again this earthworm can be introduced in the next vermi bed for the vermicomposting process. Sieving of earthworm, sieving of vermicompost is one more practice which is carried out basically by those farmers who want to sell this vermicompost to the other farmers, because other farmers want a good quality granular material. So sieving is a process. So sieving, it is a drum siever or it is a plate siever. So in drum siever, vermicompost can be added from this side. This one person rotate the drum sieve, and the sieved vermicompost will be collected at the bottom, and at the one side larger clumps of the material will be collected, which can be put for the further process of vermicomposting in the next heap, and earthworms are also being collected. So one process of separation of earthworm is the sieving. Through sieving you can separate it also. So this is a process of separation of earthworm through sieving. Put the vermicompost from one side. Good quality vermicompost is collected. Granular vermicompost or large granule or stony parts can be collected at one side, which can be separated out, and it can be put in the, if it is not biodegradable material, so it should be thrown out. But because we have taken the care initially, so probably these are the material which are not fully digested. So this material can also be used in the next vermi bed, and the earthworms are also collected at the one side. So this earthworm can be introduced in the next vermi bed for the vermicomposting process. So this is the nutritive value of our vermicompost. It has organic carbon from 9.5% to the 17.98%. It has nitrogen from 0.5 to 1.5%, phosphorus from 0.1 to 0.3%, potassium from 0.15 to 0.56%, sodium from 0.06 to 0.3%. It has a good amount of calcium and magnesium, 22.67% to 47.6 milli equivalent per 100 gram. Calcium and magnesium is available. Copper, iron, zinc and sulfur, all the micronutrients are available in the vermicompost. So these are the advantages of vermicompost. It is a natural fertilizer. It is not hazardous for soil. It improves the soil aeration. Water retention ability of soil is improved. It improves the nutrient status of soil, and it is a cost-effective method. The disadvantage is that it takes time, sometimes 3 months. I told you, if we don't add cow dung, and if you put only agricultural waste, even the hard agricultural waste, it will take 3 months. 45 days is if it is through cow dung only. The process, when it is carrying out, some bad smells are there in the yard of or in the vermicompost production unit. there will be the bad smell. It requires constant monitoring. It requires labor for the preparation of this agricultural waste for putting the means labor is required for monitoring and for carrying out the operations. So this way this vermicomposting process is being carried out. Here we have understood the process of vermicomposting, the advantage and disadvantage of vermicomposting. Even the care should be taken during the vermicomposting process for the setting of the vermicompost production unit and the nutritive value of vermicompost. The reference which you can read, Vermi Technology, is the book from Tamil Nadu. You can read everything in this book. Thank you very much.